What up, guys, and welcome back to Thomas Reacts here on the 360 Experience with myself, Thomas Maba. So today we are looking at Rob Hersov, man. You know, Rob Hersov is one of those wealthiest guys in the country right now. The guy is rich as hell. The guy got billions, man. And what is really interesting about this guy is that he's not your typical billionaire. You know, those billionaires who don't want to be on the media saying anything. The guy is actually an open book. He's a very interesting guy, and he's not even shy to tell you about the deals that he does with these political parties and these politicians, because he can tell you that I've given Malema money, I've given Ramaphosa money. Like, this guy is a mess. So a while back, Rob Hersov went to Podcast and Chill, and on this episode they spoke about ESCOM, they spoke about Johan Rupert, they spoke about our political landscape. It is a very interesting topic. It is a very interesting episode, guys. So if you haven't watched this episode before, I would really suggest that you watch this episode. So but today I'm going to focus on the part where Rob Hersov was telling us about his relationship with Julius Malema. I think it's a very interesting story, and we're also going to hear what Rob Hersov thinks about President Ramaphosa and his presidency and our political landscape right now in the country.
See the picture with you next to one of the presidents, or former presidents, I think. Or was it next to Julius?
Next to Julius. Okay. Now, bang, let's bring this up.
Okay.
There's a picture online. One picture. Me in a nice grey suit.
Yeah.
I don't know where that suit's gone. Throw it away.
Yeah.
Lord Robin Rennick, who was the British ambassador to South Africa when Nelson Mandela was released, and Julius Malema.
Yeah.
And the pictures of Julius.
Fat Julius.
He wasn't fat then. And here's what happened. I'm actually glad to explain that, because people go, I'm Julius's handler and everything's like, what bullshit. I own a business called Invest Africa. It's a 14-year-old business based out of London, and it's a business that sensibly evangelizes investment in Africa. Okay? So we go around Africa and we say, this is a good country to invest, this is a good sector, telecom or whatever. And what we do is we host lunches and dinners and events, and we invite all interesting people in Africa.
Okay.
And we let the audience make up their mind.
Yeah.
So we don't say, this is a good guy, this is a bad guy, this is a good woman, a bad woman. We say, here's Julius Malema. We've all organized a lunch with him, and then we let Julius speak, and we let people ask him questions, they make up. That's that business. And his first day ever, we had him organized for a lunch in London. And I was sitting next to him, and there was a photograph.
What do you mean organized? So you brought him out there?
No, somebody called me, a South African guy. He was quite keen. He said, Julius Malema is coming to London. This is 8-9 years ago.
Okay.
Would you guys, Invest Africa, host a lunch for him? I said, I'd love to. So we hosted a lunch, and I had, some really hardcore kind of British investors and Tories around the table. There were like 16 people around the table. And obviously I was the host, sat next to him. And he was quite interesting, because I said, where's your red beret? He said, no, I'm not wearing it. Quite clever, because he was at a British investment lunch, city people. And he said, no, I'm not wearing it. It was quite clever of him. And he was wearing a nice suit. And, it was like wolves around the table wanting to eat him. This is an evil enemy, But after 10 minutes of him talking, people started nodding their heads. They're agreeing with him on 80%, other than nationalizing banks, land and mines, which is this fucking stupid. It's for commies.
It is very interesting that Rob Hersov says that nationalizing the mines, nationalizing the Reserve Bank and the land, it is a very stupid idea. But if you look at it this way, the fact that the Economic Freedom Fighter, for the past 2 elections, it has been the only party in the top 3 that actually gained more voters, that actually did better than the ANC and the Democratic Alliance, because you know that the African National Congress and the Democratic Alliance, they've been on the steady decline. For the past 2 elections, these 2 parties have actually declined, but the EFF is the only party that went up. And at the same time, the Economic Freedom Fighters is actually running on the same policies that Rob Hersov is calling stupid. So don't you think that it would be wise for Rob Hersov and his business partners to reconsider this whole thing of saying the idea is stupid? Because it seems like the same idea that Rob Hersov and his business partners are calling stupid, it is an idea that is appealing to South Africans, because the EFF right now is running with the same ideas. The ANC was running with the same ideas, but they failed to implement the same ideas. So the EFF is basically running with the same ideas that the ANC said that they were going to implement, but they basically failed to implement. So don't you think that it would be wiser for Rob Hersov and his partners to actually reconsider this whole thing of just simply saying the idea is stupid, knowing exactly that it is appealing to more people in the country, and if they want to build the country, just like they say that they want to build the country, the business and the politics, they're gonna have to find a middle ground. So don't you think that these are the issues that should be properly discussed, instead of just saying the idea is stupid, instead of just saying that okay, we are not going to listen to you when you talk about these ideas? But I think we should create like politics and business, they should create a space where it is comfortable for them to create to talk about these issues, because especially with the economic freedom fighters, man, the business in South Africa, if the economic freedom fighters is going to perform how people are actually how people are predicting is going to perform, the business will have to come into negotiations with the economic freedom fighters, and these are the policies that the economic freedom fighters is feeling very strongly about it. So don't you think that it is wise for business to actually reconsider this whole thing of saying the idea is stupid? Okay, maybe we are not agreeing with your approach. Okay, maybe we are not agreeing with these policies based on 1, 2, 3, and find a common ground, because I think in South Africa right now, the politics and business, they need to find a common ground. What are your thoughts, guys?
And communism doesn't work, we know that. Other than that, pretty much everything he said made sense. He said BEE is going to be a disaster, because all it's going to do is make the elite rich and impoverish the poor, which is what has happened. And he said instead of that, you should give a 13th check to your employees, or give them the equity. Give your employees the equity. And he was right. There would have been a much better opportunity to push wealth to ordinary people.
But can you see why people would say Julius is captured by you, though?
No, one photograph. I've never seen him since. I've never spoken to him since then.
Since then?
No, never.
Yeah?
And not Cyril either. Once I spoke to Cyril because I was calling Johan Rupert on something, and he patched Cyril in. I was like for 5 minutes on something. That's about 4 years ago. That was it.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen Cyril either since then.
So how are you with Julius right now?
I've never met him. I haven't seen him since London.
That's
ever.
crazy. That's crazy. You don't exchange numbers, nothing.
We didn't exchange. I don't think we had mobile phones then. No, we did actually. No, we didn't exchange numbers.
You'd like to have a conversation with him?
I'd like to have a conversation with him. I'd like to have a meal with Zuma. Yeah, for sure. I want to know why they say what they say and think what they think. And I think Julius is an opportunist. I don't think he believes in anything he's really saying. But he just takes that position because it's the only position left on the political spectrum.
And again, Julius Malema has been accused a lot of times he's been accused of being a hypocrite and of being a flip-flopper. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that Julius Malema is a hypocrite? Do you think that Julius Malema is a flip-flopper, man? If you believe, please tell me why do you think that Julius Malema is a flip-flopper. And if you don't believe that Julius Malema is a flip-flopper, please also, guys, please tell me why do you think Julius Malema is not a flip-flopper. Because this what Rob Hersov is actually accusing Julius Malema of right now, this is something that Julius Malema has been accused of for years, man. For years, even this whole flip-flopping things, man. You remember even they once said that the economic freedom fighters is the economic flip-floppers or something like that. So what are your thoughts on people saying that Julius Malema is a flip-flopper and he's a hypocrite? Do you believe that Julius Malema is just saying things for the sake of saying things, or do you think that Julius Malema, or he's just saying things for the sake of saying things, just like other politicians? Or do you think that Julius Malema is genuine with his message? Do you believe that Julius Malema believes in what he says?
You know, the EFF will destroy this country faster than even the communists. But he's never going to get in power. So,
how do you know that?
Yeah.
Because the average South African is not stupid.
Again, I'm going to bring the whole thing of elections again. The average South Africans are voting for the economic freedom fighters, man. The average South Africans are voting for the economic freedom fighters. And saying that the average South Africans are not stupid. I don't want to say South Africans are not stupid, man. I can't find a word to actually describe South Africans. I want to find a word that is not insulting to South Africans. Because there has to be a way for South Africans always voting for the ANC despite ANC's failures. There has to be a way. I don't want to say South Africans are stupid, guys. Please help me find the way. I don't want to say South Africans are stupid. But you look at how the ANC has governed the country for the past 30 years. You see the ANC's failures, man. You see the highest numbers of unemployment rate. You see our infrastructure is a mess. You see our education system is a shame. You see our healthcare is a mess. Everything in the country is a mess, man. The trains are not moving. Nothing is moving in the country right now. That is the legacy of the African National Congress. But for some reason, South Africans, they go out there and vote for the African National Congress. That's why I say, whenever people say that, the African National Congress is done, I'm saying, guys, this is the biggest mistake that you can make. The voters of African National Congress are not shy to go to the polls to vote for the African National Congress. Despite what everybody is saying, the voters of African National Congress will go out and vote for the ANC. The challenge comes with opposition parties. Because opposition parties are finding it hard to convince average South Africans to go to the polls and vote for them. It's hard for them, man. A lot of South Africans are not voting. Whenever it's election seasons, South Africans are not participating. But guess what? The voters of the African National Congress will always be there, making sure that the ANC wins the elections. They will always be there. Even next year, they will make sure that even if the ANC does not get the majority of the votes, but we're going to fight hard for the ANC to be in governance in some form. The challenge is with the opposition parties, man. The opposition parties are finding it very hard to actually convince the South Africans to go to the polls to vote for them. It's very hard for them because right now the opposition parties are also telling us the things that we know about ANC, and the voters don't want to hear that. The opposition parties need to understand that the voters, they know everything that is wrong with the country, man. Every single person who lives in South Africa, they know what is wrong with South Africa, man. So telling me what is wrong with South Africans is not actually benefiting me, and it's not doing you a favor. I think the opposition parties, man, they need to do the whole election thing different, man. Go to the people, tell the people what is it exactly that you are going to do different from the African National Congress. Stop telling the people that the African National Congress has collapsed the infrastructure. People can see that they live with the potholes every day. That's what people are living with. People are living with these clinics. People are living with this South African police service. You know how bad South African police service is. People are living with that. Do not tell them that the African National Congress is doing a bad job of governing the country. Why don't you tell South Africans what is it exactly that you are going to do for South Africans? Different from the African National Congress. Maybe, just maybe, the South Africans can vote for you. Because again, the other thing that people are saying is that we cannot vote. I heard one day Prince Mashele saying that we cannot vote for the Economic Freedom Fighters because the EFF, they don't have experience in governance. People are saying now, I can't just vote for Action SA to start running the country because the Action SA have never actually run the country before. People are now talking about experience. That's why the ANC, like they get it, they get that right. They say, guys, we are here. They go to the people in our communities and tell them, guys, we've been in governance for such a long time. We now understand how the processes are. But if you are going to vote for someone who just started a political party yesterday, that person doesn't understand how the process are. So your life is going to track. So it's best to give us a chance so that we can govern because we have learned how the processes are. That's what the African National Congress is telling the people, man. We have experience. All of these people, they don't have experience. They don't know what they are talking about. That's what Fikile Mbalula was talking about the other day, that all of these people, the only thing that they are doing is criticizing the African National Congress because they know nothing about governance. And people think about that. They think about that. The idea of voting for a whole new party, man, it's scary to a lot of South Africans. The idea of voting for a fresh administration, it is scary for South Africans, man. You can hear even Rob Hersov is telling you that the Economic Freedom Fighters is going to collapse this whole country. This whole country is going to collapse. If the EFF comes in power, the country is going to collapse. The EFF is telling you that, guys, if you allow the DA if you allow the DA anywhere near the Union Building, it's bye-bye. Your country is done. Your country is done. So these guys are using for fear-mongering. They are using fear-mongering. But I'm telling you, the idea of voting for a new party in the country, man, it is scary to a lot of people in the country, man. This is why, for some reason, people still vote for the African National Congress, despite everything.
The average South African is a church-going, conservative, good person that wants the same thing that everyone else wants. A better life for their children, an opportunity to get a job and have dignity, bring home, the bacon for their family. And they don't want the chaos and disruption they know that EFF will bring. They know it. He's not going to get more than 12% of this country, ever.
But how are you sure?
You say the average South African is not stupid, and I agree with you, but, we keep doing the same thing over and over, voting for the ANC.
Not anymore. 2024, they're out. 100%. The ANC is destroying itself.
And guys, do you believe that? Do you believe that the ANC is out in 2024? Do you think that the ANC is done in 2024? That's what people are saying. People are saying that the ANC is done in 2024. Some people are already preparing their lives post the ANC. Do you think it's going to be so easy to kick the ANC out of power, man? Or are we simply just dreaming, man? You remember, for the past 2 elections, people have been saying, this time the ANC is done. This time, you see, this time the ANC is done. Even the last elections, man. I remember them saying that the ANC is even fighting with the ANC. Cyril Ramaphosa is fighting with Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. There is no way South Africans are going to vote for the party that is split in half. But guess what? The South Africans voted for Ramaphosa anyway. And I'm warning people. I'm trying to warn people, man. Do not underestimate, man, the voters of the African National Congress. It's insane. You look at the Eastern Cape, man. You look at Eastern Cape. You look at the poverty in the Eastern Cape. You look at the fact that the Eastern Cape it's one province that is actually voting for the ANC more than anyone. But if you look at their province, it's a mess. It's a shame. You look at the schools there in the Eastern Cape, man. It's a mess. It's pit toilets, man. The classrooms are like, guys, it's a mess in the Eastern Cape. But guess what? The people of the Eastern Cape will vote for the African National Congress, regardless. That's why I'm saying, do not underestimate the voters of the African National Congress. If you really want to take the ANC out of power, man, one person must gather 5 people who are going to vote against the African National Congress. Then if there's 5 of you guys in your group of friends or whatever, one person must gain 5 people who are going to vote against the African National Congress. Then boom, you have 25 solid people that you know that, okay, these guys are not going to vote for the African National Congress, and it is your job. It is not only the political party's job to convince other people to go out there and not vote for the ANC. It is your job too. If you are a South African and you don't want the ANC to be in power, it is your job too to encourage people who don't want anything to do with the elections to go to the polls and vote the ANC out of power. The political parties, they can't do it alone. If you really want the ANC out of power, man, you really have to mobilize right now. Mobilize your friends, mobilize your family, mobilize your cousins, mobilize everyone to vote against the ANC. That is the only way, because a lot of people are not going to participate in next year's elections. So if you can convince maybe 20 people to go to the polls and vote against the ANC, and your friend can convince 20 people to go and vote against the ANC, maybe something can be done. But you might as well forget about ANC losing power. If the same people who didn't vote in 2019 are not going to vote in 2024, you might forget about the ANC losing power. You are going to live with African National Congress. So if you really want the ANC to be out of power, it is your job too to convince people who are not even interested in elections to go to the polls and vote against the African National Congress. That is the only way, guys. That is the only way. The only debate will come to which party should I vote for. It's going to be a stress also because there are so many parties in the country right now. Man, we can't even keep up in South Africa right now. There are so many parties in the country right now. So many parties. Everyone has a political party. Everyone has a political party. South Africa, man, is alive with possibilities, man. South Africa is alive with possibilities. But that's what I'm saying to you guys. If you really want the ANC to be out of power next year, mobilize your friends, mobilize your families. Each person must have 5 people who didn't vote in the previous elections to go to the polls to vote. So if there's 5 of you, you have 25 people. You see?
A number of people that I look up to have said to me, Rob, stop saying ANC footsack. They're eating themselves alive. You don't even need to push them over the edge. The ANC, anyone who said the ANC didn't love this country is lying. They love this country dearly. But this government doesn't. And we need to get rid of those madalas. By the way, I'm the same age as most of them. No, 2024, it's a new world.
Before we get into the ANC, what did go wrong with you and Cyril? Because it seems like...
I don't know Cyril.
Yeah.
I once went to... I gave 250,000 Rand to a school's charity 6 or 7 years ago. I never got a thank you, but that's fine. Whatever. At least it went to a good cause. And I went to a speech of his in London where he was so boring. After 40 minutes, I got up and walked out. There were like 100 people in the room, black tie, and I walked out. People were like, how rude is that? I said, well, I'm listening to someone who's not going to tell me anything interesting. So I don't know, Cyril.
I don't know, man. I don't believe that. You know what it sounds to me like?
He's a billionaire, you're a billionaire. You've called him an idiot in public.
I've only lived here for 6 years. I've only been back for 6 years.
You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like...
Billionaires don't hang out together all the time.
I know, but he can easily call you. I mean, he was patched in a call with Johan Rupert, you had said.
No, but it was on... I can't even remember what it was on. It was it was a non-issue. It was like, oh, let me check with Cyril. And Johan was like, dialed him in. Seriously?
Yeah.
Cyril, when last did you see me? You won't even remember.
Because my thing is, it sounds like they were like, Cyril, we'll get your presidency, but you must give us anal. And then they got him presidency, and then now it's like, hey, I'm not sure if I want to do this. Yeah, I don't usually do this. Hey, get more lubricant. Yeah, get more lubricant.
Here's the problem. No, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right. Here's the problem, okay? And it's also going to be Paul Mashatila's problem, and a lot of the politicians' problems, is they promise everything to everyone. Okay? So Cyril meets with these business people. Okay, and I know there's a lot of behind-the-scenes meetings. I don't get invited to them, okay? But he meets with these business people, and he goes, listen, I've got this under control. I know you're worried about, but we're going to do this, that. And then there's nothing. Then he talks to the communist, and he says, then he says to Gwede, ESCOM 2.0, it's not a bad idea. Remember him saying that? I mean, why didn't he be honest and say, it's a stupid idea, Gwede? Even Gwede, I think, knows it's a stupid idea, but he has to say it because he's a communist. And
I'm glad that Rob Hersov is saying this thing, man. Like, it really proves that in our townships, guys, we got political analysts in our townships, man. I'm telling you, we got political analysts in our townships, man. What Rob Hersov is talking about, man, a lot of people have been saying this for a long time. That President Ramaphosa is a businessman and at the same time he's a politician. And some of the policies that the ANC wants are the policies that the business disagree with. So that's why it's always like Cyril Ramaphosa is stuck between a rock and a hard place, because these guys are giving you money, are funding you, and these guys are the politicians are keeping you in power. And what the business want and what the African National Congress wants are two different things. So I'm glad that someone like Rob Hersov actually said this, because people have been saying this for a long time. That how, like, I remember when Ramaphosa just assumed power, people said that how is Ramaphosa going to maneuver? Because Ramaphosa is a businessman and at the same time he's a politician. So how is he going to balance everything? How is he going to balance everything? Because The policies, like, these guys are like, they don't agree on the policies. The African National Congress policies are the same policies that Rob Hersov is calling stupid. African National Congress wants to nationalize the land. The African National Congress, they want to nationalize the mines. The African National Congress, they wanted to nationalize the Reserve Bank. And you heard what Rob Hersov is saying. That is a stupid commie idea. So I'm glad that he said this, man. I'm glad.
And Cyril's promised everything to everyone, and he can't deliver anything to anyone. That's the problem.
But, I mean, I think it's a bit unfair to say he's an idiot, because he's just the head of a huge organization which has so many moving parts. He can't even control all of them. Everybody there is stealing and thieving.
100%.
How does he control it?
I know, but then he shouldn't say to us, in 2015, we've put a plan in place to fix ESCOM. He's just admitted, well, I thought we had a plan in place. I mean, come on, guys. They're just politicians. And actually, it doesn't only apply to the ANC. I'm pissed off with pretty much every political party today. I got on the phone with a friend of mine. I'll mention his name. Saul Goldstein, very super smart.
Well,
tech billionaire, lives in Joburg. He cares about this country. Cares about this country. And I called him up, and he just ranted at me. He just said, I'm so angry with every single political party. They're just fucking this thing up. I don't want to give them any money anymore. And he said a very smart thing. He said, I'm sick of these different colors of all these political parties. The only color I care about is the South African flag. I want South Africa to be a better place. And that's what I want. I'm not anymore. I'm DA, but I'm not anymore saying you must vote DA or Action SA or VF Plus or COPE or Inkatha. I'm saying vote for change, because we've got to get change, guys. Vote for change, pick whoever you want, and they've got to work together. They've got to work together.
So guys, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on what you just heard? What are your thoughts on this thing? So guys, if you want to watch the whole episode, please make sure that you visit MacGN podcast. You will find it. It's not hard for you to find it. So guys, please tell me your thoughts on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part, guys, please subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.